Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Archetype. I'm your host, Ashley, and we're back. So, to recap, also if you're in the chat, please say hi. But to recap, let's go ahead, and I didn't gather a whole lot of reference, I just grabbed like lizard. But last week we drew a lizard wizard. So this is what we came up with last week. And I kept the body on the side so I could sculpt the body and whatnot. And then we have some cool patterning and whatnot from the basilisk itself. I actually really like these like cool little wrinkles and stuff, so it would be cool to add that into his body. I'm not going to harp too much on it though, because I do want to get to all of his clothing and stuff like that. Because I'm going to go ahead and put that away. So as you can see, I actually did something a little different. Is I already blocked out his body. I did this in about 40 minutes, so it's not like you missed a whole lot. But on previous archetype ones, you can go back and watch how I kind of block these out if you would like, if it's your first time, kind of seeing this video and whatnot. But the biggest reason as to why I did this is I have some sad news. And I'll probably repeat this as the stream goes on. But sad news is we are taking a pause for Archetype. So keep your eyes open as to maybe when it will return. But as of right now, it's going to be paused, so we won't have these streamings every week. So you won't get to see me sculpt all these fun little characters. So just keep an eye on, all that stuff. And I want to do one last sculpting session with you guys, and I want to try to wrap up and get this guy as close to done as possible. We'll see how far I can get, but the goal is to get something that's actually somewhat sculpted and blocked in. Maybe not posed, but we want to try to get all this little stuff in there as much as possible. I was pretty excited to pose this guy because I was going to have him running on the water and doing a bunch of stuff, but probably won't have time for that. But yeah, so I'm just going to keep working at it. I'm not going to do any of the normal stuff that I normally would do for the stream. I'm going to polypaint, and I'm going to try to texture and detail fairly quickly. So this is the true definition of speed sculpting, if you've ever seen it. So I'm just going to try to block in details that I know I would see in the character, and then just kind of go from there. But yeah, again, if you guys are joining in, please enjoy the stream, and all the other streams are also up on YouTube, so you can go back and watch all those ones. And it was super fun to sculpt all this stuff with you guys, and I hope you guys got a bunch out of it. And again, I'll be repeating this as probably more people trickle in and whatnot. But for now, we're just going to have fun sculpting. And if you guys want to continue to watch me sculpt or me draw, you guys can follow me on Instagram. I am known as Stegon on there, which I'm sure will get posted up on the screen for you guys. But I definitely would like to finish this character. I think I was actually pretty happy with how quickly his proportions and stuff came together as I started sculpting him. I had a very clear, I don't know, it's one of those things that sometimes with characters you get this very clear vision as to how they'll feel in 3D. And I think that's partially why the drawings of the expressions I was able to do fairly quickly and fairly well was because I had such an idea for the way his face was that I knew it would come together really fast. So I'm pretty happy with the results so far, but obviously all we can do is continue to get better. But I'm going to go ahead and dip into polypainting pretty much immediately because I want to paint his body and then start adding all of his clothing and stuff like that, so we can get a move on. So we got our clock is ticking and we're racing against time here. But I like getting a nice blend of. There's some really cool colors. There's also like a kind of cool like bluish color that I'm getting too on the bottom of the jaw here, which is cool. And again, I can just kind of block out the colors of the face. Colors make everything so cool. And I really love the little white speckles or yellowish speckles, so I'll add those later too. I'm gonna go ahead and color pick that guy. And I'm just gonna work my way around the body. I have just the paint. It's just the paintbrush with a really hard square alpha, and I like doing that for stylized characters because it gives this like kind of brush painterly feel. And you can cover a lot of ground with it. And I just like the way it blends because it doesn't blend, you know, perfectly, because it's that square alpha. But when you blend it back and forth onto stuff, you can get like a really nice, again, it's that like kind of painterly vibe that I go for my characters. And turn on back face masking so that way when I paint the tops of the fingers, the bottoms should stay light. There we go. I'm doing also to paint the body for most creatures or characters. I like doing something called counter camouflaging, which is something that you find in the wild in real life. So counter camouflage just means that usually it's darker on the back of the character and then lighter in the front. And reason being for that is so that way when you're looking down into the forest or something like that, they blend really well with the bottom floor, the forest floor, or the ocean floor. You kind of see it everywhere. And vice versa, when you look up and you're looking up into the sky, they're lighter colored, so that way you can tell. So you can't tell between, you know, the sunlight and their body. So it helps them blend and stay protected. So even nature's really good at, you know, color breakup and palettes and things. Always the best reference, Mother Nature. That green again. And again. Just get the tops of his hands here. And then I can grab that darker green. Bring that down. I'm wondering if there's some like hints of blue that we could give in other areas. So if I grab that blue and kind of very subtly kind of put it, you know, maybe on the inner thigh. something like that. Not that you'll see it, but if I was texturing this guy for real, you would be able to tell. Colored that pretty fast. There we go. And then I'm gonna grab that. Again, I'm gonna try to blend this a little bit more. And then I'll take, there's kind of like a very, kind of like a lighter saturated green. That might be too heavy, but I can always color pick the least heavy one and then color pick it again. But there's some areas of like very saturated. Sometimes when you're texturing characters, it's not always about like value shifts. There's a lot of different ways you can pull out context of, you know, character attributes. One is you can do value. So, you know, I could grab this color and I could kind of shift it and try to make it darker. And then when I paint, oops, that's why it's not working. And then when I paint, you know, his eyebrows, you know, you can get a darker contrast like that. Or, you know, I think we think a lot in value, but also just hue shifting it to a more saturated color is very subtle, but it you can see that actually pops out quite a bit too. So shifting, not just shifting in value, but shifting in temperature and shifting in saturation will make a really big difference in like what's standing out in your character. So that's something else that you can kind of think about when making characters. You know, when we learned about like painting fundamentals for like you know, traditional painting in a traditional painting sense, there's still a lot of that stuff that we can apply to even just character texturing. Just give a little bit more breakup to, I don't know what you would call it, I guess the fin on his head. It's kind of fin-like. There's a lot of really cool like wrinkles and folds that you get from that, but you won't see a lot of that. You'll see some of it. And then last but not least, he's got cool, they're almost like, they're actually kind of bright bluish now that I'm looking at the reference. Yeah, they can be very blue actually. So I can grab that blue, shift it a bit more and brighten it. And then it's kind of, oops, forgot to go to the paintbrush here. And they're very sporadic, but I'm trying to be very conscious of know, big shapes, small shapes, shapes that are kind of sparsed out in weird ways to add more interesting breakup to the design. And there's not that many, so I'm trying to be careful as like he's not, you know, like a spotted jaguar or something. And then there's a really consistent pattern of dots that go down the character's like belly, like kind of down here. But it also goes out into the arms, which is cool. I feel like because we're doing an anthropomorphized creature, there's so much stuff that you could play with. And there's not much on their face, but I think for the sake of adding a bit more variety to his head, could probably add a few. And I would probably obviously go in and make it asymmetrical, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. So now you get something like that, and then so Gavin, hi Gavin, on YouTube, is asking, am I modeling off of a picture or from the top of my head? So I have this as reference. It's on my other monitor. So I'm looking at the pattern in here. So many cool little textures that I would love to add, but it's just a bit of yellowness and stuff. But you can see that these are kind of bluish, and in other references, like on Pinterest, you can see that this is like super blue, that one right there. And there's even some hints of some that have some like black striping, which is pretty cool. So I'm looking at reference, and then for the character itself, we drew this last stream. So he's a lizard wizard, and I made sense of the fact why he has a pointy hat. It's because it holds his basilisk funny head. I mean, they pretty much look like a witch hat. So that's kind of where that initially kind of stemmed from. So it's very fun. So those are the two things that I'm looking at right now as I kind of reference this and sculpt on top of it. JD Smith, whoa, cool. Thanks, thank you. Yeah, go Basilisk going. It's nice to see them painted so quickly. When I'm working for production, I tend to try to paint stuff as soon as possible because it makes it easier to tell and read the character. I just feel it feels more like a character. The faster you can get color on it. But don't fool yourself, it's important to also turn off that color and look at your model just purely in grayscale too, and see if then make sure that all those forms and everything are reading, because there's a lot of forms that you can add on top with just color. So it's important not to rely on it, but have it be more of an accent to help you, see the character. Don't use it as a crutch to not sculpt stuff. JD Smith saying I colored before retopo, or did I miss the retopo stage? So this is just purely polypaint, which means this is purely, if I zoom in here, you can see it's based off of the pixels, the amount of pixels that I'm painting. You can turn this into and put this on a texture map later, but normally I'll polypaint something, and then when I bring it in and make like a low res and do all that stuff with it, I usually just start from scratch and repaint it anyway. Excuse me, it anyway. sorry, I'm so burpy now. Oh no. Or I think I might have gotten hiccups. So from here, I'm going to just start adding clothes. For those of you that just jumped into the server, or into the stream, not server, hello. But also, if you watch this stream from the beginning, you'll see that I didn't start this character right when we streamed. I actually had a pretty decent, I had an okay block out before I started streaming, and reason being is we are trying to finish this character in the stream right now, as it's happening live. Trying to finish all the sculpting bits and details. And the reason being is Archetype for, as of right now, is going to take a pause. So we're not sure when it's going to come back, or if it comes back, it might be a little different and stuff like that. So I didn't want to leave you guys hanging because there's a lot of people on here, such as someone like JD Smith has been watching for a while, and there's so many names that I recognize and stuff. So I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So we're doing this last stream before, Archetype takes a pause, and I totally will miss streaming with you guys and everything. I have so much fun streaming. So I'm hoping you'll come back soon, and we shall see if it changes or anything like that. But as of right now, we just have to take a pause, which is unfortunate, but I will miss you guys, and I had a lot of fun streaming, and I hope you guys can go back and watch some of the other streams. They're still all up on YouTube, so you can go check those out, and hopefully you enjoy those. And I try to make my streams as informative as possible, so hopefully, even if you haven't seen one in a long time, you can go back and rewatch it and go, oh hey, I learned something new, or I learned something cool. And that was kind of the goal. I wanted to hopefully introduce you guys to ZBrush. If you've never, seen ZBrush or anything like that, it's kind of a new thing for you. Then hopefully I didn't make it look so scary. It's a very fun and friendly and cool program, and I just hope that you guys can continue on your art careers with it and utilize it as a really cool tool for your artistic journeys. So hopefully watching me stream in it made it feel a little less scary, and you guys can dive in and have a lot of fun with it like I do. It's a super fun and cool program. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, or you guys want to show me work after the stream or anything, or you guys want to keep following my work, I will always try to continue making posts and sculpting and doing a bunch of fun stuff. And so if you guys want to keep an eye on that, then you can follow my Instagram, which is @StegonEggs. And yeah, keep posted. Right now, I'll be posting. I always struggle with the name, so forgive me, but it's called January. It's January plus creature. And they have a daily creature that you get to draw and whatnot. So I've been keeping up with that, and I just post once a week all the creatures that I do for the week. And it's super fun. So, you can check out my Instagram and watch me do all those fun things. Wookie, hello. How's it going? We're making creatures and cute wizard lizards. I haven't really thought about colors, but I feel like a maroon. I think maroon would be great because it pops out so much from the red. I'm gonna make his shirt now. But yeah, like I said, super fun to stream. I really enjoyed streaming with you guys. You guys kept me so active in making art. My whole portfolio actually right now, that actually helped me get a new job, which is super exciting. So thank you guys. Kind of have you guys to thank for that. It really has been super awesome to stay so consistent, working on characters and making cool stuff, basically, you know. And yeah, the stream kind of held me to it, and it gave me a really nice weekly goal or something, you know, because I had to come on and I had to stream and I had to make something for you guys. And so it was just really helpful to kind of put yourself in that mindset of, okay, I have to make something. I have to make something fun or cool, or, you know, doing something on the fly. I've actually gotten a lot faster since starting to stream. I was already pretty fast, but I am definitely even faster now. You know, sometimes I even am just like, man, I can make stuff really fast, and I'm always so surprised by my own ability. But I think I really owe it to the fact that I've been streaming for you guys, and it's super cool. I really like all the results that I've gotten. I have so many cool projects and so many fun ideas that I've gotten to get out of my brain, and yeah, it's kept me really, really creative and led that creative energy for me into the new year, which I'm really excited for. And super long sleeves. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what the future holds. I think he sure needs to be smaller, because we're gonna put like a big waistband, and I think having the small shirt is probably more interesting. Good enough. Maybe this can be like a little darker. I keep going like, Ashley, just sculpt it, because I gotta finish it, and then I end up modeling the same old way anyway. Old habits die hard. You're still on your dragon frog sketches, Wookie? Keep them up. I want to see them. You better tag me. You better tag them and post them. I want to see them. I'll be very sad if you don't. I will cry. I cry very easily. Don't make me cry, Wookie. There we go. And then I'm gonna grab, how do I want to do it? I think I'm gonna, but Wookie, if you're just streaming in and maybe you missed the announcement, but this will be the last stream for Archetype for a while. I don't exactly know. I don't really have any answers, but the stream will go on pause. And so I didn't want to leave you guys hanging, so I am here, and we are going to finish up this character tonight, and then we're going to call it a day. But if you guys want to continue following me and watch my work and do all those things, you guys can follow me on my Instagram, and hopefully you guys can see some cool stuff there. I will try to be really good at posting more. I do a lot of work. I just am bad at posting stuff half the time. But thank you for following me and joining in on my stream. It was really, really fun. But as of right now, they've decided to give it a pause. And maybe we'll come back with something that's got a bit more of a initial plan to it and whatnot. But we'll see. But for now, we're going to have fun making a lizard wizard, and I'm going to redo these wraps because this ain't working for me. I got to just make circles and then fix it. Wookie, you don't have Instagram? Get some. Get it. Get Instagram. It's not great, but you can follow a lot of amazing artists on there. And it's a cool way to, I didn't like social media. I still don't really like social media. But what I do like about it is it forced me to hold myself accountable for drawing. And I used it as kind of like a journal, basically, of like, hey, keep drawing or keep working on stuff. Which reminded me that Gavin asked a question, which was, hey, I checked out your Insta, super cool stuff on there. I'm really into 3D stuff. Should I be pursuing 2D art as well? I don't want to say that you have to be pursuing 2D art. I do think that the better you are at 2D, you'll get better at 3D, and the better at 3D you'll get, the better your 2D will get. I'm fully a believer that if you kind of do both, you're going to learn so much from each thing that you're going to take with you to the next medium. The most important thing is learning those fundamentals of design and stuff like that. But that being said, it's still super important to go away. It's still important to, I think, explore different mediums. Drawing will never hurt you. There's plenty of artists out there who sculpt and don't really draw anymore, and they're professionals in the industry, and that's totally fine. I've always felt like I can usually tell, though, if you can draw or not, because there's just things and fundamentals that you learn when you're drawing that transfer over so well into 3D. I think it's a really invaluable tool. Not saying you can't be a good 3D artist without it, but I think there's a lot of cool stuff that you can learn, such as silhouette and shape language, and breaking down design in 2D is much easier than breaking it down in 3D. So in a way, if you're struggling with any sort of design aspects of, sculpting, then I highly recommend, starting with a drawing first. And reason being is it's a simplified version. It's this more simple version of what you're trying to commit to, and in all angles of 3D that you can focus on one at a time in 2D, right? Because you're working on one angle at a time. So I think that's super important. So when you look at this black and white silhouette, for example, that silhouette's super important to how I'm trying to read the character, and how the character reads from all angles, right? He should feel like a basilisk. He should feel like a lizard, and if you look at those shape design, the shapes that I'm using, I would draw it the same way. In fact, technically I have, right? So these straights versus curves, right? Or these simple versus complex, and all this anatomy, it is still all going into the 3D design, and it's gonna make you a better sculptor the more you understand those. Wookie, you're getting a Instagram. Did you name your Instagram Edgar? But your name is Wookie. Just maybe Wookiee was taken, so Edgar it is. Edgar. Isn't Edgar the butler from Aristocats? Or am I crazy? Maybe I'm crazy, but... I get to show you guys a cool tool that I like to use for making, because we're going to make his little gown, and then I'll make his cap. Muburu Haruna, sorry if I butchered that name, is saying, heyo, and is asking, do I offer mentorships? At the moment, I don't, but I do teach at Gnomon. I teach in person. Maybe one day I'll do it online. That'd be really fun. But yeah, I teach Intro to ZBrush at Gnomon, so you can find me there doing the ZBrush things. But as of right now, I don't do mentorships. But if you ever have questions, or if you want me to look at your artwork, or maybe you look at one of my streams and you're like, hey, I saw you do this thing, can you help me? Just reach out on Instagram and I will try to get back to you or look at your stuff. I would say the most important thing is have a very specific question that you want to ask me, and I'll be more likely to respond. But I usually don't leave a lot of people hanging. Gavin says, I've used reference images before, but that's about it. I'll give 2D a try. Yeah, give 2D a try. Another good thing, because you already know 3D, if you struggle with any shapes or forms, you can easily block something out in 3D and then draw on top of it as a starting point. Don't just trace, try to understand, try to understand those perspectives and understand maybe like where you're failing at understanding in 2D versus where you understand in 3D, and that'll be super helpful. So there's this cool tool called Curve Bridge. You have to have two polygons that are, if I turn off double, you can see these two polygons are facing each other. So that's important. And then what I'll do is I'm going to draw a circle. Kind of goes like that. And then I'm going to draw another circle. It goes like that, and it'll actually bridge the two together as long as I drew them correctly, which I didn't, so I got to draw it the other way. If it does that, just draw it the other way. Whoop. There we go. No, it didn't. Why are you failing me? Let me try that again. Oh, that's probably why. I'm a silly goose. It's trying to connect across, so just make sure that they're like that. There we go. And now you can get a cool little cape thing. So now that I remember how this works, I'm going to redraw that real quick. So I'm going to go around, and because I want to close this loop kind of in on itself, and then the other loop I want to leave kind of open. There we go. And the geometry is actually pretty good. So now that I have that, I can go ahead and click out of that split. And I can hide it. And now I have his little capey thing. Which I can then mask and kind of try to make smaller to find where his hip line is. JD Smith, you've been awesome. Salute you, sir. Davian says, good evening, happy sculpting. Hello. And Wookie, you remember the guy with the hat? You mean the lizard that we're sculpting right now? This guy? You remember the thing in front of you at the very moment? Oh, you know what? I'm silly. Instead of doing that, I should use the lattice tool, which is the deformer. So then you can pick how many thingamajigs there are. There we go. So now that I have that, I can actually grab this and make this wider, because then I can grab this whole thing and make that all wider, because he's got a wide. There we go. And then I can kind of smooth those out. That's a lot easier. And you can do something like, I could Z-remesh this and it might give me a pretty decent result. It should already be pretty decent topology, but I can always refine it a bit more or cut it in half so that way I'm dealing with less polygons. So that should polish out a little bit easier. The only problem, until you add thickness, is you can't keep your corners. So if I extrude this in, and then I can run a group by normals, and then I can crease it, and now if I polish that, there we go, that'll get much cleaner. Thank goodness I picked a character that's just got like a gown for its clothing. So I'm grabbing this so I can, I want to rotate it and then shift it over here. So that way I get more overlap at the top. And then I can just grab that and start pulling that in the direction. And using the move topological, I should be able to easily do that. And then I can always polish by features to smooth out anything. And then I can just refine, and I'll be able to sculpt on top of this later. You know, and this is super thick too, so I can kind of bring this stuff in. And I'll probably inflate this because it's not super thick, so I can inflate that to make that feel a little more bulky and maybe overlap that more. Because I want this sitting on the inside of that. There we go. And anything that's like sticking out at this point, I can just pull that stuff in. Right, because what I care about is the silhouette of when he's wearing, you know, his little cloaky thing. Adorable. I dig Lizard Wizard. It's so funny. All right. And then I can add, and then what's great from this is there's like a bunch of stuff that I have like that's overlaid on top of this. But now that I have that, I can just duplicate this and then I'll grab this, delete this guy, and now I can pick and choose. I'm going to duplicate it one more time because there's a few of them, but I'll hide that one for now. And there's one that kind of overlaps, kind of like this. It actually goes down. Oops, pretty far. And it goes all the way around to like here or so. And then I can just polygroup. Whoops. Oh gosh. My goodness. Wrong thing. Polygroup. That one. And then I can run this and just say auto group. And now I can select these and there's my shape. And I can delete hidden. I can say auto group again because I accidentally grabbed those little polygons there. Go ahead and grab that. Say delete hidden. Right. And now I have that guy. And I'm going to add movement just because we're not posing him anyway. So we just won't have time. Or maybe we will. Just kidding. There's no way. But just to add some flow to that. And then you can go ahead and extrude that out. And then I'm not really sure what colors quite yet. Maybe something opposite of those colors? Or maybe orangish? I'll fill it in for now. I'm not sure yet what colors to layer. I'll have to look up some reference of some stuff. But now I can grab, again, this one that's the duplicate, and I can do the other side. And the other side is shorter. So I can go ahead and polygroup, grab a shorter one. Grab that, delete hidden, extrude all those polygons. Wookie says you taught us a ton in this archetype series. You did a great job. Thank you. Don't make me cry on stream, Wookie. Don't do it. You guys have been awesome. I'm actually I was just so impressed with how many of you guys just continued to come every single week, like without fail, always showing up for the stream. It was really cool, and I'm glad that you guys love art and love what I do and what I have to share, because art's all about sharing. Sharing is caring. And so it was just so much fun to share what I do. Partially because what I share for you guys is also just what I like. So it felt good to be like, the stuff that I like, other people like, and that you guys enjoy. As an artist, that's always a really cool feeling. And so it was super fun to see you guys enjoy my creations, and hopefully, again, I love if you guys got something out of it. If you guys walk away with learning a new skill or a new ability, or maybe some confidence to share your work, whatever it is, whatever fearless art adventure you go on to next, I hope that you can carry a little bit of archetype with you, a little bit of me. And again, hopefully this is just goodbye for now, but not forever. I'll still be around. I do a lot of talks and panels and stuff, so if you guys are around for anything of those types of sorts, then definitely keep an eye out. But all right, and then there's one more So again, I can grab this guy, duplicate it. But you guys see a pattern here. You guys know. You know. You've been in this stream long enough. You know. You know how we do. I said I was gonna like just sculpt it out of Dynamesh, Ashley, and then I just can't get myself to do it. It's not the real me if I'm not sculpting this way. It's just not genuine to me. Okay, so now I know that the one underneath needs to be like darker or something. Ooh, maroon, that dark of a maroon is cool, but I don't know yet. I gotta look up some color patterns. It's hard figuring out how I want to layer this. Gotta be some color I can figure out, but. Garay says, thanks a lot for sharing your artwork. Hooray! Lots of internet hugs all around for you guys. Yeah, you guys have been awesome. And yeah, just go make art. That's all I care about. Go make cool art. Go watch other people make cool art. Get better at making art. Get inspired. It's like what? Oh, what's his name? Not Carl. Carl's the old man. Is it Doug? No, Doug's the dog. Adventures out there. That kid. What's his name? Someone in the chat help me. What's that kid's name? Can't remember. From Up. I'm saying from Up. I don't know if that helps, or if you guys know what I'm talking. Maybe I'm talking crazy. I don't know anymore. Okay, it's time, guys. Let's add his hat. I'm very tempted. Here's my thought. A smaller hat for his other thing. So he has like double witch hat. I think I'm gonna do it because it's too funny not to. Gorang is asking, where can we see the further texturing process? I'm not sure if I'll finish. We'll see if I can finish this guy. There's so many projects, but if you do want to look in a little bit of like texturing, the last character that I did was a low poly 3-headed dragon, and I go into Substance and I do some painting in Substance, and you can check me out doing that stuff. Gring's also asking if I'm on Twitch or YouTube. I am on both, but on the Gnomon thing. I don't have my own thing. So if you look up Gnomon Archetype, you can find the people before me, and you can find their streams, which are also really cool. And then you can find the ones that I've done as well. And they'll have my name. So if you look up my name with Archetype, you'll find some stuff on there. And hopefully that will be helpful to you. All right, I'm gonna. Oops. It just makes more sense to start from the cone, doesn't it? I mean, it is a witch hat. Done. Oh. I mean, I think I'm right, you guys. We'll see, but I have a good feeling about double witch hat. Just like double rainbow. And then I'm gonna insert another cylinder here. And I'm also just gonna, I will eventually just Dynamesh this because I'm, again, I need to be better. Normally I would sit here and poly model the crap out of it. I might keep this one as a simple shape. Because then I can go to group by normal, crease it. I know it looks crazy right now, but just bear with me. Dynamesh that. Oops, turn on the groups. No one will know. How will they know? No one will know. If you're not laughing while sculpting, are you sculpting? Said follow you on Insta Great Sketches. Thank you, sir. I appreciate all the love. Really do. Means a lot to me that you guys like my art. Now I can lower this a little bit. I do want to make this pointier. There we go. Oh yeah, look at that witch silhouette. Very witchy. He's got his double witch hat. Oh, guys, pretty cute. Scroll Reaver says, if you're not laughing while working, you're working on portfolio. It's kind of true. It's kind of true. Oh good, it didn't break through itself. I was a little worried about that. I just upped the resolution and combined it because for the sake of the stream. And now I can carefully go around here. Too big. I need to write that on the whiteboard at Gnomon. If you're not laughing while working, you're working on your portfolio. I really like that. That's funny. Oh God, so many colors. Just cleaning up the edges here. So that way when I go to remesh it, it'll look a lot better. And now I can take that. Well, I don't think I need that many. There we go. Extrude that in. So you flip it. There we go. Probably crying internally. Yep. Oh, Arturo said he got to sleep early, but it's been a pleasure to be able to see you work and learn from you. Just want to thank you. Thank you. You're awesome. I appreciate all the people that stay up being like, I'm going to stay up and then until I just absolutely have to go to bed. I love that. Dedication. All of you get cone. Salutes. I'll go ahead and start sculpting the hat here. I think we're gonna finish it, you guys. Thank goodness I picked a character, unlike the first archetype that I did that had all the potions and all sorts of things that I decided to add to him. Keeping it relatively more simple with this guy. So, should be able to finish it for the stream for you guys, which was my goal. This is pretty well on his head. Wookie says I missed a lot of streams, but I'll rewatch the series. Yeah, just watch them one at a time on Wednesdays. Make the make it last longer. Where's Okai Sato, man, to tell me to save? Saving now, you guys. Saving now. Let's see. Where even am I? So many. Don't look at my folder menu. Oh god. The secrets. Look at all these guys we finished. Man, we did so many. Look how many cool things we got to do. We got to do quite a few archetypes, and I hope that they were all as much as a surprise to you as they were to me when I was making them. If I'm honest, a lot of them were, what am I doing today? And then just kind of going for it, which is super fun. I actually really enjoyed, you know, challenging myself as an artist and seeing what I could come up with within the time frame that I had. Yeah, it was just really fun. I really implore you guys to like challenge yourselves, and you know, part of Archetype was even if you don't sculpt, you know, you could draw, or if you do sculpt, but give yourself, you know, like a prompt or an idea. Archetype is all about finding that, you know, an archetype in its definition is, you know, basically a trope in storytelling. You know, we know the grand old wizard, you know, such as Gandalf. We know the thief and the brave knight, or, you know, whatever it is. We've seen all these hero characters, or all these characters in books and stuff. And it's not, the biggest thing about Archetype is you should know that it's not generic to use these archetypes. A really good example of a book that's fantastic that uses every single one of these archetype tropes is Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is the truest definition of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, which is where the archetypes kind of generated from, was like a study of story and structure. But just because you're using an archetype such as a wizard doesn't mean the wizard needs to be boring. It doesn't mean that your story is boring or your character isn't interesting because you're using a trope, or using something that, you know, quote unquote has been done before. Well, what can you do about it? What can you make of it that's going to make it feel different? You know, what can you add to it that's the sense of, you know, your own flair to these characters, and make them yours and make them fun again, make them fresh again. That's the goal of an artist. That's your job. How many video games have you seen a character that, you know, it could be described as like the brute of the character, right? Or the brute of the group of adventurers, right? But how often is it done in a cool, fun, interesting ways? There's a lot of times where it's, you know, maybe boring and generic, and that will happen. But there's also plenty of really wonderful characters that are made from the most simple ideas. So I think it's important to embrace what's generic and make it your own. You know, that's where your creative brain comes into play, and you get to make cool new shit. If I'm gonna put it that way. Yeah, just go make awesome stuff, you know? And I think it's important to be you, you know? I didn't come on this stream being like, the people's demand is that they demand lizard wizards. You know, I'm making a lizard wizard because I think a lizard wizard is funny and cool. I'm not adhering to, quote unquote, the audience. I'm just being me. All the characters that you've watched me make are just me being me. And I think it's really important as an artist to stay true to that, you know, especially as you're on Instagram, you're seeing a bunch of cool work, and then, you know, you might look at Instagram and see a lot of people doing robots or something. You're like, man, I'm not doing any robots. Cool. You don't have to do robots. No one's asking you to. And if you don't want to, then you shouldn't. I think you should do what you like to do, because that's what art is about. Art is an expression of yourself and you alone, and how you interpret the world, and whatever art you want to come and make of that, that's up for you. You know, we can sit and enjoy it. Just how you guys can sit and enjoy my Lizard Wizard. But I'm not making it for you. I love all of you. But I don't make it for you. I make it for me. And I think that's why people enjoy it, is because it's just me making stuff that I enjoy. Look how cute he is. Oh my god. I love this guy. I'm so bummed I don't get to pose. Maybe I will pose him and post it, but I won't get to stream it. But he's kind of adorable. So, Game of Thrones used archetypes and everything felt fresh. Yeah, like the Hound's a really good idea, right? But the Hound was a very different, cool perspective of a character that's technically kind of tropey, you know, or like the Mountain. If you look into cinema, you'll find the tropes everywhere, but it's not about having the trope, it's about what you do with them that's going to make it fun and different. So yeah. Sorry for that. Well, I'm not sorry, but that was my rant. I'm done now. I gotta stop saying sorry for ranting about things I'm passionate about. Blue Eyes Samurai. I was actually just watching that before I came on to stream. I was watching it while I was eating dinner. I'm only on the first episode, so I gotta keep watching it. But I love all the art. The art's really cool. So super stoked for that. And then Greg says, character personality makes them different. Yeah, character personality and design and, you know, bringing a weird spin to it. You know, we made that paladin character, and it was a, you know, like a Mongolian type inspiration guy, but he rode a corgi, right? Paladins are usually seen as characters that are like really strong and mighty, and, you know, they ride this white steed. And so we came up with a guy who, you know, seems really strong and cool, but also rides a corgi into battle. They're all some kind of hero. They are, in their own way. Final Fantasy re-explored fantasy tropes. Yeah, tons of stuff, dude. Battle Corgi is best Battle Corgi. Agreed. Corgi is best mount. Nothing will stop a Corgi. So, agreed. Those stout little legs, they're not going to fall over. You think you can tip over a Corgi? They're already too low to the ground. This ain't happening. I'm also very quickly, as you can see, sculpting in detail. I normally wouldn't, you know, sculpt this stuff. This stuff would be much nicer looking, but again, for the sake of the stream. For the sake of you guys to see a finished product. I'm gonna do very subtle. Actually, I'm gonna go the opposite direction. So I want the folds in this one to be much bigger and a little more simple, because we already have so many folds that are breaking up his, you know, his cloth underneath. So I don't want them to blend into each other. I want one to be kind of more of like an area of rest versus an area that's a little more busy. So I'm just gonna break up the bottom a little bit, but that's about it. I want that shape to feel nice and simple. Gavin says, I I like the style choice for the double wizard hat. Not gonna lie, it's one of my greatest ideas yet. I think it's super funny. Again, I do stuff merely to entertain myself half the time, and you end up with really fun ideas. Probably mess up his little hat now. I'm adding a lot of asymmetry and stuff in things that I normally would save for later, but there is no later. There's only the now. And then maybe I did have a lot of design stuff on him, so I can try. But maybe he's got maybe it's actually just yellow trim to break up the reds. And again, be cleaner than this, you guys. I've taught you better. And then instead of gold, maybe it's like just a metal. I think that's maybe better. Because I like the simple complementary, like warm palette with the green. It's a lot of fun. I did have his wings as a cape, so could add that too. I really like the silhouette of this at the moment, so I don't really know if it's gonna help or look cool. I'm not really sure yet, but Amy Lee Suits is asking, have you ever tried creating yourself in ZBrush? So like doing like a self-portrait. If I ever learned ZBrush, that's the first thing I'd want to do, but maybe that's weird. It's not weird. People do self-portraits all the time. They're really good studies. I've never been that interested in my face, so I usually just don't do personifications of myself. I like getting lost into other worlds. So I just tend to stick with creating, creatures of my imagination and not of me. But to each their own. There's plenty of people that make really cool portraits. There's a guy that does he does do a self-portrait, but he also does a lot of like actors or characters. His name is Gabriel Soares. I'm sure our mod ninja could write that in there and you guys could look him up on Instagram. Really good. He's a really great example of someone who's a 2D artist but also a 3D artist. And he utilizes them both in really cool ways. So yeah, he's really cool, and he's really good at doing like stylized. I made those hands terrifying. Portraitures and stuff. I didn't want him to turn evil. Look at the silhouette of those hands. I mean, I did say I wanted lizard fingers. That's as lizard fingers you could get there. He's so cute in the face, but so deadly in the hands. And his feet definitely need to be longer. It ain't weird until it's lizard weird. It also helped if they were kind of touching the ground, but they're kind of not. There we go. And they have these cool, like, kind of fin things. So in Brush, you can turn on this thing called AccuCurve, and it'll actually pull stuff out more sharply than usual. So if you're looking to do like a really pointed character, this is kind of a nice trick. You know, if I wanted to make that hat, for example, really pointy at the end, I can pull that out using that AccuCurve, and it'll help it stays a little bit more pointy. Or anything you do will just be very pointed. So if I pull that, kind of mess up his hat a little bit. Thank you, Ninja Mod. And then this guy, I can delete those subdivisions. I can grab the green, shrink it. I lied. I can grab the green, grab this, expand it, delete that side, and then I should get. I'm making this more complicated than I need to. I lied to you guys. I'm so sorry. Sorry I lied to you. Just do that. I'm just trying to get the edge. See? And now that I have that, I can extrude that out. And then now I can pick like a, I can use that gold trim. It definitely needs to be more subtle. And then I can merge those two together, subdivide it, and then I can get, I usually like to use a really big standard brush, and then you can kind of drape over. There we go. Amy says thank you. You are welcome. I'm going to merge these two down because it's just easier to work on them together. Again, I'm going to duplicate it. Grab this, grab that, and shrink it, mask it. Then I can grab this guy, delete hidden, extrude those out, group by normals, and then I can crease it so that way it stays nice and straight. Before I do that, though, I can actually get rid of the... I don't need that section. Come here. Or that section. Now I can take these guys, merge down. And then I can choose to, you know, I can grab this one, and then maybe maybe I can do like a slightly lighter color or slightly desaturated one. Gotta be very careful with the values that I pick here. Just try to give it like slight breakup and not make it anything that pops too much. And then maybe this gold trim actually follows up into his shirt, which is just gonna be easier to mimic. Just grab it like that. The thickness is always so crazy. Here we go. Yeah, I don't like it. This looks better. I might like it if there's too much gold, so it's too much gold breakup. And then maybe we can add this. Just to get a shape. And then I'll probably push those in actually. And maybe connect them in some sort of way. I'm gonna go the real simple route here. And then I'm just gonna warp it into place, kind of cheat it. And then what I can do is make that feel like it's pinching. if you can make things feel like they're really pressing onto something, it helps a lot with that squishing. Same thing with something like this, right? With those folds, if you really exaggerate that overlap and that pinch that you're getting, because it's getting squished and bunched, you know, it's going to help a lot with that breakup. I think that's one mistake I see a lot of people when they're sculpting clothes, is they don't go deep enough into the cloth shapes themselves to make a difference, and to like really dent it and to feel like it's actually, you know, folding or doing something. You know, so like this, for example, if I really wanted this to feel super bunched, I would make sure that there's enough volume to support that. And because this is, you know, Dynameshed and then kind of like just subdivided, you might, you know, I would still be in Dynamesh for a lot of this, because you have to push and pull so much for sculpting cloth forms that you don't want to, you know, rely on the geometry that you have. You want to kind of change it up. Unless you're doing it from Marvelous. In that case, it's a little different of a workflow. Michael says, love that character. Thank you. He's very cute. I think I'll go ahead and open up the mouth. And then the mouth will probably be the last little thing that we'll add, just to give him a little bit more expression. So go ahead and find where his jaw would really hinge. Open that up. Follow that line. Oops, I always forget you gotta Dynamesh it first, and then follow that line. You'll get cleaner geometry. And then go ahead and pull that mouth all the way back. And then Dynamesh it. And now we have a mouth. Now I can make sure his neck also isn't, you know, protruding through his mouth. And then in this case, because I don't have a lot of time, I can just get in here. Get in there. Extract is a super useful method for getting geometry fast. Oops. It was a little annoying to get back in the mouth, but you can always hide stuff or, you know, move stuff around or solo certain things. Because it is really hard to see. That's why that selection tool exists. But now we got that. And then I'll go ahead and duplicate it, and I'm just gonna turn off symmetry, grab a cone. Whoops. Go ahead and make a little tiny tooth. Doesn't want to stay very pointed, but it's okay. Move this over, do a mirroring weld, turn on symmetry. And then I can just turn off everything except the gums, and then I can just follow. Kind of where the gums go. Turn everything else back on. And then I can duplicate it, move it up, rotate it around, kind of fit that into there, and then reposition these teeth. And then you can kind of figure out, like, you know, does making them bigger, because I don't want them to feel too scary. So, like, you know, you can try to make them a little bigger. And then move them around a bit. Kind of weird for him to have molars, but the geometry is being a little funky to me. So he keeps wanting to just like flatten out rather than stay pointed. But I'm not going to try to sit here and figure out why. But yeah, something a little more rounded, or maybe the teeth that are a little bigger. Just figure out like a balance. Basilisks do have like really tiny teeth, so, you know, I don't know if that would help or make it look even scarier if you did something where his teeth were really small. I think them being wide is fine, but maybe they're just low profile. What is that? Oh, I see. And then we can take his mouth once again. And now you can make a little tongue. Again, big fan of reusing, you know, what you have to get something new. And he'll have a little forked tongue. Because, obviously. And then I can go ahead and paint his eyes a bit more. I think painting his eyes like a reddish kind of color will be kind of cool, actually. So, oops, I'm painting. There we go. I was painting material as well. I know it looks scary right now, but trust me. I just finished watching a show called Bacchanal, which is really good. And one of the characters has red eyes, and they're really cool. So I'm kind of copying. Mimicking what's good. Maybe 2 shines is depends on whether you want to keep that real shine or fake shine, but it might be a little too much to have both. Why isn't my subdivision showing up? It's weird. What did I do? That's weird. You see how my stuff is subdivided? Is sculptures accidentally on? It's dividing, but it doesn't show me a high res. Weird. I guess I'll just stick with Dynamish. I don't know. That was weird. Anyway. What's the name of the show I was watching? Oh, I was watching Blue Eyed Samurai, but the one I just mentioned was, it's called Bacchanal. It's an anime. And it's really good. Technically it was 13 episodes. But then I think they were able to afford more. And so there's about 15 episodes of Bacchanal, and it's a super good show. Highly recommend. Just making sure that all this feels like it fits around the eye shape more. need to find maybe that this is like a little bony ridge here. And then maybe round out his nose a bit more. So it feels a bit more friendly. And I could exaggerate that by rounding his nose even more. Just a little bit. And then maybe pinching his nostrils. Give him that nice big lizard grin. Gonna try to find a good mix between making sure that his brow ridge stays a little more visible. I like his tail a lot too. I think his tail's actually pretty fun. And then he feels a little dead-eyed, and part of the reason is because he's looking too straight. So if we actually kind of, if you cross-eye your character, not too much, you know, it'll look weird. If you go out too much, you're like, oh man, that's real derpy lizard level. So you want just the right amount of crossing, because your eyes actually don't look just straight. They look and pinpoint inward into something almost like a triangle. So it's actually better to cross in more than it is to, you know, keep it. He looked a little like dead-eyed because of that. And then one thing we could do too, to accentuate like the shadow there. So I'm just painting in a fake shadow, so it looks like there's more depth to the eye than there actually is. Because until you get shading on it, it's not going to feel quite right. Gavin's asking, I wonder if 3D animation will take off given the availabilities of softwares like Blender. Yeah, I think you see a lot more people getting to be creative in software that normally would be too expensive. So I think it's really cool that something like Blender is so accessible to everyone to just be creative and make cool stuff. I don't want to texture them so much to where it's like realistic texturing, because I don't think that helps make them look cute. But a little bit of texture here and there to give an idea of what his skin might feel like isn't bad. And it adds like some nice breakup. Get out of here. hacky curve is still on. Just accentuating some more fun forms. Then so that way it just doesn't feel like just like a cylinder. And then same thing with this here. So again, it's something that I kind of learned from 2D drawing, is I know that if I make the bottom just like more, you know, wooey, then I can kind of follow that up and you get a more interesting, you know, sense of drapery. And then you can start, you know, breaking it up a little bit by, you know, your big, medium, small kind of little designs and stuff, but helps like add movement to stuff. That yellow is just too, it's too yellow. So you can go to Polypaint. Where are you? Last thing before I go. There it is. Gosh, I couldn't read. Adjust colors. Select that color. And then you can adjust the colors. It was just a little too bright compared to the rest of him. And there you have it, folks. There's our little wizard basilisk character. He was super fun. I was really glad that I'm actually able to kind of like finish off his clothing for you guys for this last stream. Again, be on the lookout for anything that I do. You guys can follow me on my Instagram at Stegoneggs. And then, yeah, there it is, right there. Yeah, again, my name's Ashley Stegon, and it was so much fun hosting Archetype. I really hope it comes back and with full force. But right now, as I said before, if you guys weren't here for the stream in the beginning, right now it's on pause. So just be on the lookout. I'll be at Gnomon. I'll be doing events. So I'm hoping, you know, to see you guys or see anything in the future. Go ahead and ask me questions on Instagram if you guys have any. I'm pretty open to you know, talking and giving feedback to people and all that jazz. But yeah, this was super fun. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And you guys have a wonderful Wednesday, and I will catch you on the flip side of art. All right. Bye, everybody.